Can your state make its own generic GLP-1s? Connecticut just took the first step and it could change everything. Plus, Novo's Wegovy ad Blitz, a new higher dose on the horizon, and the quiet pharma power plays, reshaping global access, pricing, and what happens after you stop your medication.
Hello and welcome to the Downsize News. It's Monday, July 14th, and we've got the latest on everything GLP-1. I'm Laraine Durham, and I've lost over 50 pounds on tirzepatide.
And my name is Christopher Durham, and I'm down 100 pounds thanks to GLP-1s, and today we're talking about the meds that are changing lives. We're covering Mounjaro, Zepbound, Wegovy, Ozempic, semaglutide, tirzepatide, plus what's coming next, new research, new drugs, and what it all means for real people like us.
A quick reminder before we jump in, we're not doctors. We're just sharing what's worked for us and what we've learned along the way. Always check with your healthcare provider before starting or changing any treatment. And if you're new to our channel or you find this helpful, please hit the like button, subscribe to the Downsized, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss what's next.
As always, there's a lot going on this week, so let's jump straight into the news and break down what it means for those of us using GLP-1s to treat the disease of obesity.
In story number one, Connecticut just passed a law that could shake up the GLP-1 market. It gives the state a path to manufacture generic versions of Ozempic, Wegovy, Mounjaro, and Zepbound. But there's a big condition. The federal government has to approve it first. The law is part of Senate Bill 11. It directs the state to submit a formal petition to the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. Connecticut wants permission under Title 28 U.S. Code Section 1498. That's a rarely used federal law that lets the government and its contractors use a patented drug without the company's permission. The company still gets paid, but the price is negotiated, not dictated. Dan Haar, reporting for the Hearst CT Insider, broke the story. He wrote, Connecticut will seek permission to hire a generic drug maker to manufacture cheap versions of Ozempic and other drugs in that class. These generic versions would be used for patients on Medicaid and the state employee health plan. Last year, Connecticut spent more than $140 million on GLP-1s. That number is rising fast. This law is designed to take control of those costs and expand access at the same time. It targets both semaglutide and tirzepatide. That includes all four major brands: Ozempic, Wegovy, Mounjaro, and Zepbound. Senator Matt Lesser, who led the effort, said the time was right. It's the politics that changed, and that's what made this possible, he told Haar. The state now has a deadline. The petition must be sent to HHS Secretary Robert F. Kennedy, Jr. by August 7. If it's approved, and if no court steps in, Connecticut can move forward. The state could contract a manufacturer to produce GLP-1s at a lower cost. Governor Ned Lamont signed the bill but raised concerns. In his statement, he said the provision may present an overreach of federal law. Still, he committed to implementing the law as appropriate and to working with healthcare providers, advocates, and industry leaders. The pharmaceutical industry didn't stay quiet for long. Haar responded that they came out of the woodwork at the 11th hour, losing their minds over this. I'm not shocked about that. That reaction wasn't a surprise. The legal idea comes from a 2016 paper by Yale law professor Amy Kapuscinski. She argued that Section 1498 could be a powerful way to lower drug prices in public programs. There's precedent for it. Louisiana used the threat of this law to push for cheaper hepatitis C drugs. It worked. The state got a subscription-style deal with manufacturers. Some health officials believe the same approach could work for GLP-1s, and Connecticut isn't alone in pushing for change. California is expanding its CalRx initiative beyond insulin. GLP-1s are on their radar. Louisiana is considering similar steps. Washington State is studying bulk purchasing. States like North Carolina, West Virginia, and Pennsylvania are reassessing their Medicaid GLP-1 coverage because costs are exploding. Here's the scale of the problem. In 2019, Medicaid spent $577 million on GLP-1s. By 2023, that number jumped to $3.9 billion. Pennsylvania alone expects to spend $1.3 billion on GLP-1s this year. This is no longer a fringe issue, it's a national budget crisis, and states are done waiting. They're using every legal and policy tool they can to lower prices and protect access. Connecticut's move is bold, but it reflects a growing frustration. The status quo is unsustainable. Drug makers have the right to profit, but when a single class of medications start consuming billions in public spending each year, the public has a right to act. For patients who rely on Zepbound, Mounjaro, Wegovy, and Ozempic to treat the disease of obesity, it's not just about price. It's about access. It's about consistency. It's about being able to stay on treatment long enough to change your life. And when access is threatened by high prices or limited supply, it's the patients who suffer, not the companies. What Connecticut has done is open the door. Other states may follow soon. And the message to drug makers is clear. If you won't make these medications affordable, someone else will.
So Connecticut, what do you think of that one?
Let's move to Connecticut.
I'll stay in North Carolina, but Connecticut's lovely.
That's a neat trick they figured out with that law. I hope they'll get it through. I'm not hopeful
I think it's a
for
long
them,
path.
but
It's a long path.
yeah, I'm glad that they're trying something different.
But if they could leverage it to negotiate, and that may be what it is. They may never plan on doing it. They may just be going, hey, Novo, Eli Lilly,
We're going to
come to
touch
the
up
table with us.
completely, or you can play.
Right.
Mhm.
Story number 2, as the NBA Finals took over televisions in June, Novo Nordisk seized the spotlight and the airwaves with a single Wegovy commercial that helped the obesity treatment reclaim the #1 spot in national TV drug ad spending. Novo spent nearly $39.9 million to run its Discover the Power $0 Wegovy ad across the country. That's a sharp jump from May, when they spent $24.1 million in 1 month, when Wegovy ranked 5th in spend. This marks the second time in 2025 that Wegovy has led monthly drug ad spending. The first was in March, also during a major basketball event, the NCAA March Madness. Wegovy's GLP-1 sibling Ozempic, which is FDA approved for type 2 diabetes but widely used off-label for weight loss, held steady with $11.5 million in June ad spend. Meanwhile, Zepbound, Eli Lilly's GLP-1 medication for obesity, climbed slightly to reach $15 million in advertising across 3 commercials, with one spot called Change Savings Options accounting for nearly the entire spend. Together, Wegovy, Zepbound, and Ozempic, 3 GLP-1 medications, claimed 3 of the top 10 TV drug ad spending spots in June. In total, these 3 drugs accounted for $66.4 million in ad spend, or just over 30% in the combined $219.4 million spent by all top 10 brands. That's a powerful signal of just how aggressively companies are promoting GLP-1s for the treatment of obesity and diabetes. The rest of June's biggest TV spenders included several immunology drugs that are consistently among the leaders. You have heard the songs and seen the commercials, I'm sure. Skyrizi, Rinvoq, and Tremfya were all major players once again. Spending for Tremfya and Rinvoq ticked up slightly, while Skyrizi dropped from the top spot in May down to the number 2 position. Rexulti, a neurology drug marketed for depression and Alzheimer's-related agitation, also climbed the list with more than $25 million in TV ads. Jardiance, which treats diabetes and kidney disease, held firm with over $17 million. Dupixent, a mainstay for eczema and asthma, saw its spending cut by more than half compared to May, falling several spots. And rounding out the list was Opdivo, Bristol Myers Squibb's cancer immunotherapy, making its return to the top 10 with $10.3 million in its campaign. GLP-1s are not just reshaping treatment, they're reshaping pharma marketing too. We'll keep watching who's spending, who's gaining ground, and what it all means for the people using these medications. This is billions of dollars in the course of a year.
As you were saying each drug name, I could hear their jingle for
Yeah.
the commercial in my head.
That's how often they play them.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
big bucks.
the disturbing part of this is these ads are getting in your head. They're those earworms. And although many believe they're good information and they should be out there, I personally believe they're giving you the wrong content. And you should be looking for
What
information
do
in
you
other
mean
places.
by wrong
I think
content?
I think these ads so dramatically skew everything about the content. They're not giving you the true stories. It's a marketing play.
It's
That's
a
it.
30-second commercial. I mean, it's just for
I
awareness.
think it is a marketing commercial designed to make you want to buy whether you need it or not.
Wegovy, oh. I mean, it sounds fun. They're all walking around. They're having a great time. They're losing weight. I mean, what's not to like about that?
If you don't mind them spending billions when they could have just lowered the price.
In story number 3, Novo Nordisk has submitted a new application to the European Medicines Agency, or the EMA, requesting approval for a higher 7.2 milligram dose of its GLP obesity treatment, Wegovy, or semaglutide. This move is part of the company's broader strategy to offer more tailored options for people living with obesity, and it could signal what's next for the U.S. market. The application is backed by clinical data from the Step Up and Step Up Type 2 Diabetes Phase 3B trials, both presented at the 84th Scientific Sessions of the American Diabetes Association, or ADA, held in June 21 through 24, 2025 in Orlando, Florida. In the Step Up trial, adults with obesity taking the 7.2 milligram dose lost an average of 21% of their body weight. More than 70% of participants lost at least 15%, and 1 in 3 lost 25% or more. The safety and tolerability were consistent with the already approved 2.4 milligram dose of Wegovy. Ludovic Helfgott, Executive Vice President of Product and Portfolio Strategy at Novo Nordisk, said, "This new dose was developed as a tailored option for people in need of additional support to achieve meaningful, sustained weight loss. With a reaffirmed safety and tolerability profile, we strongly believe in its potential to help even more people with obesity reach their individual weight loss and broader health goals." Novo Nordisk plans to make the 7.2 milligram dose available across the European Union, and a U.S. FDA submission is expected later this year, according to internal sources. If approved, it would be the first new dose of Wegovy added to the U.S. label since the original launch, offering physicians a higher dose option for patients who have plateaued or require a more aggressive intervention. The results presented at ADA have already sparked anticipation among U.S. obesity specialists, many of whom see the 7.2 milligram formulation as a promising step toward optimizing care for patients who haven't reached their goals on the 2.4 milligram dose. With more than 90% of Step Up participants achieving at least 5% weight loss and a safety profile that held steady, regulators may view this new dose as an extension of an already well-established treatment. We'll keep you posted as Novo Nordisk pushes ahead in Europe and lines up a potential U.S. launch.
So, just expanding dose options. I think it's exciting. Story number 4, Eli Lilly is quietly building a protective buffer around its most valuable products. As we know them, GLP-1 medications, Mounjaro and Zepbound, by significantly increasing U.S. imports from Ireland, where the drugs are manufactured. According to newly released trade data, imports of peptides and protein-based hormones, the category that includes GLP-1 drugs, have nearly tripled compared to the same period in 2024. Much of that spike appears tied directly to Lilly, with most shipments headed to Indiana, where the company is headquarters. This stockpiling move comes as Washington ramps up scrutiny of pharmaceutical imports. While pharmaceuticals were ultimately excluded from the administration's recent tariff proposal, the Department of Commerce launched an investigation in April into potential national security risks tied to imported medications. Tariffs remain a possible outcome. Lilly appears to be getting ahead of any disruption, especially with GLP-1s, now representing a major share of its revenue. While Novo Nordisk beat Lilly to market with Ozempic and Wegovy, Lilly's Mounjaro and Zepbound have quickly caught up and surpassed. And unlike Novo, which does final production in the U.S., Lilly's GLP-1s are produced in Ireland. The pharmaceutical import surge has contributed to the U.S. trade deficit, hitting a record high in March as drug makers across the industry rush to move product ahead of any policy changes. It's another sign that the GLP-1 boom is not just reshaping obesity care, it's also reshaping global supply chains. So they're moving the API from Ireland to the U.S. to hopefully get in front of any tariffs.
What exactly is made in Ireland?
The API.
What's the API?
The active pharmaceutical ingredient. The terzepatide piece of it.
So that's being made in Ireland.
Yeah.
The actual peptide part.
Correct. And I think they've announced some new factories where they would start making it here too. So, but they're trying to get it over here so they don't get hit with tariffs.
Why don't they just make it here?
They've announced some new factories,
Okay.
but it'll take them years to build giant factories.
Mm-hmm.
Those don't happen overnight.
Mm-hmm. In story number 5, Novo Nordisk is making a bold play to expand its global footprint and reassert its dominance in the diabetes and obesity treatment space. The company announced a $2.3 billion investment in Italy aimed at accelerating regulatory approvals and expanding access to its blockbuster therapies, including its GLP-1 medications. The investment, set to be fast-tracked by the Italian government, will support advanced pharmaceutical manufacturing and help speed up the launch of Novo's products in Europe. It's a strategic move to strengthen the company's position as competition intensifies and global demand for GLP-1s continues to soar. While the U.S. still represents the largest portion of Novo Nordisk's revenue, this investment signals a clear pivot. The company is doubling down on international markets, particularly in Europe, where rates of obesity and type 2 diabetes are rising fast. And for Novo Nordisk, it's an opportunity to streamline product approvals and reinforce its leadership just as new players, including Eli Lilly and potential generics, begin to challenge its share. The collaboration also highlights Italy's growing commitment to tackling chronic disease. By supporting innovation and accelerating regulatory timelines, the country is positioning itself as a hub for pharmaceutical investment and healthcare modernization. This isn't just a business deal, it's a signal. Novo Nordisk wants the world to know it's not giving up the top spot without a fight.
So we should move to Italy. Maybe it'll be cheaper.
Italy, Connecticut, everywhere but here, right?
Story number 6, a new preclinical study is offering powerful insight into how the combination drug Cagrisema, which merges cagrilintide, an amylin analog, with semaglutide, a GLP-1 analog, helps drive weight loss beyond just cutting calories. And it may help explain why some medications work better for long-term weight reduction than dieting alone. In a 21-day study of diet-induced obese rats, researchers found that Cagrisema led to a 12% weight loss, primarily from fat, by reducing food intake and preventing the body from slowing its metabolism in response. That second part is key. Weight loss normally triggers a biological slowdown in how many calories we burn at rest, a phenomenon known as metabolic adaptation. It's part of the reason why keeping weight off is so difficult, but the researchers found that rats treated with maintained their energy expenditure even as they lost weight, unlike rats who are calorie restricted to match the same weight loss. In fact, the study found that about 1/3 of the weight loss caused by Cagrisema came from this blunting of metabolic adaptation, not from eating less. That means the drug appears to reset the body's internal thermostat to a lower weight without activating the usual starvation response. For comparison, rats treated with Cagrisema ate 39% fewer calories and lost 12% of their body weight. Rats on an identical calorie-restricted diet lost only 8%. Rats forced to match the same weight loss as the Cagrisema group had to eat 51% fewer calories. According to the authors, this demonstrates that Cagrisema's weight loss effect goes beyond appetite suppression. It helps preserve energy expenditure, essentially making weight loss feel easier, at least for the rats. The results reinforce the idea that successful obesity medications may need to do more than reduce hunger. They may need to short-circuit the body's natural defense against weight loss. The authors suggest this blunting of metabolic adaptation could be a general property of effective anti-obesity drugs. Although the research was done in rats, it supports growing clinical evidence that GLP-1 based treatments may lower the body's defended weight set point. The authors note that in contrast to the metabolic chaos seen with crash dieting, Cagrisema-treated animals maintain relatively low physiology and gene expression. As the authors put it, Cagrisema seems to suppress not just the hunger, but the starvation response itself.
It's very easy to control the diet in rats. Not so easy in people.
Well, but what it's telling you is that whole thing where we say if you shouldn't eat too little because your body will adapt and react and won't let you lose weight. It's stopping that.
Yeah, well, on the rats that didn't get the Cagrisema and had the same calorie restriction, they lost less weight. With Cagrisema, they lost more weight on the same calories.
Right.
Yeah.
And they don't feel like they're starving. Now, how rats feel, I'm not really sure. But
so tell me, Mr. Rat, did you feel like you were starving? Well, yes, I did.
Hard to say.
Hard to say. In story number 7, Novo Nordisk is continuing its multi-billion-dollar expansion in China with a new $112 million investment in a state-of-the-art quality testing laboratory at its flagship manufacturing hub in Tianjin. On Tuesday, the company signed an agreement with Tianjin Economic and Technological Development Area, or TEDA, to build the 18,000 square meter facility, which will house chemical, biological, and microbiological labs. The lab will support quality control for products manufactured at the site, one of Novo's 7 global production hubs. Construction is expected to be completed by the end of 2026. This latest project follows a separate 4 billion yuan, or 556 million investment announced in 2023 to expand sterile drug preparation capacity at the same site, an upgrade projected to wrap in 2027. Altogether, Novo's investment in Tianjin now exceeds 10 billion yuan, or roughly 1.4 billion. The company employs more than 1,700 people at the Tianjin facility and nearly 7,000 across mainland China, Hong Kong, and Taiwan. Tianjin has become an increasingly important hub for the production of GLP-1 medications, such as Ozempic and Wegovy, both of which are now approved in China. Ozempic received its green light for type 2 diabetes in 2021, and Wegovy was approved for obesity treatment in June 2023. Novo launched Wegovy in China in November, and GLP-1 sales in the region reached 7.2 billion Danish kroner in 2024. That's about $1.14 billion, including 5.76 billion kroner, or roughly 904 million, from Ozempic alone. Novo's latest investment comes amid intensifying competition in China's growing obesity drug market. Eli Lilly is expanding its presence, and local companies are gaining momentum. Last month, Innovent Biologics secured regulatory approval for Mazutide, the world's first dual GLP-1 glucagon receptor agonist. For chronic weight management, Lilly retains global rights outside China. But the timing of Novo's announcement is striking. While the company continues to pour hundreds of millions into Chinese manufacturing, it has simultaneously cast doubt on Chinese-made ingredients and facilities. In U.S. court filings and public statements, especially in its legal battles with compounding pharmacies with its latest investment, Novo is clearly betting on long-term growth in the region, even as it draws a sharp line between its own operations in China and the broader warnings it issues about the risk of Chinese manufacturing in other contexts.
So huge investments in China.
It does seem that way.
Story number 8, Kate Farms has introduced a new high-protein nutrition shake delivering 25 grams of organic pea protein, 6 grams of fiber, and 27 essential vitamins and minerals, all with 0 sugar and just 160 calories. Made to support muscle health and overall wellness, the shake meets the Kate Farms standard, plant-based, organic, non-GMO, and free from dairy, soy, gluten, artificial sweeteners, and the top 9 allergens. This isn't just another protein shake, said CEO Brett Matthews. It's nutrition with purpose, developed with clinical precision and a whole lot of heart. The chocolate-flavored shake was developed over 18 months with extensive testing and refinement to ensure it's both nutritious and enjoyable to drink. So Kate Farms is another company that's actually owned by Dannon, too. So for you that might know the Dannon name, I think these are pretty expensive.
Mm-hmm. In story number 9, Ipsos just launched something new that caught our attention. It's called the GLP-1 Persona Bot, and it's designed to help companies get smarter about the people using GLP-1 medications to treat obesity. If you're not familiar with Ipsos, they're a global research firm based in Paris that works in everything from market research to public opinion. With this new tool, they're leaning into AI to offer companies real-time insights into what consumers think, feel, and need when it comes to weight loss medications. The Persona Bot is built on data from Ipsos' Global Consumer Obesity Monitor and includes 5 unique AI personas. These aren't just generic profiles. Each one reflects different attitudes, behaviors, and challenges that real people face when managing obesity. Companies can interact with the personas in real time to understand motivations, concerns, and how people respond to different messages or products. Here's what Ipsos says this tool helps with. It gives depth by offering 5 well-researched personas that represent different parts of the obesity treatment market. It's accessible, so teams across marketing, research, and product development can use it. It gives companies actionable insights, helping them make faster, better decisions when it comes to product design, messaging, and strategy. The bigger picture here is clear. Companies are investing in tools like this because they know GLP-1 users are reshaping the market. From food and fitness to fashion and wellness, this new wave of consumers is forcing a cultural and commercial shift. Brands that want to survive it or grow with it are scrambling to understand who GLP-1 users really are and how to meet them where they're going.
We reported on something similar to this a couple of weeks ago. It wasn't this same company, but this one's interesting because they've actually developed AI personas such that if you're developing food or clothing, you can ask the AI persona. So maybe the AI persona is Laraine, and she's just starting her journey, and she's a suburban mom. You can ask it questions, and the AI answers. Kind of crazy.
Interesting.
Story number 10. Eli Lilly has donated a 53-foot mobile cleanroom lab to Purdue University's Young Institute for the Advanced Manufacturing of Pharmaceuticals. Once used to produce the first FDA-authorized COVID-19 antibody treatment, the Mobile Sterile Unit, or SNU, will now train students in the real-world process of compounding sterile injectable drugs. Installed next to Purdue's new manufacturing facility, the SMU offers hands-on experience in aseptic techniques, gowning, sterile filtration, vial filling, and more. Students will learn how to compound medications under conditions that meet FDA standards for sterility and safety. While not specific to GLP-1s, this is a meaningful investment in the future of injectable medications. From GLP-1s to emerging biologics, the need for trained professionals who understand sterile compounding is growing. This lab gives Purdue students and industry trainees through the BioTrain program a head start in the skills required to manufacture complex treatments safely and at scale. So they donated a lab to Purdue University to teach them how to compound.
I guess they figure there's a big future in compounding medication. Hint, hint.
Well, in this case, compounding is a bit bigger than compounding pharmacies, but it's the same exact skills. I mean, when they're doing development in labs, they have to compound these before they get to the manufacturing process.
I didn't realize it was a college-level skill to compound medications.
I think it's part of a bigger degree kind of thing. That's it for this edition of the Downsize News. We hope today's updates provided you with something useful for your GLP-1 adventure.
If you're looking for tools that make this weight loss journey easier, head over to thedownsize.org and you'll find our Amazon store where we've curated the products that have helped us the most.
We built that store because we remember what it was like in the beginning, trying to figure out what helped and what was a waste of money. Everything in there is personally curated by us for GLP-1 users, by GLP-1 users.
And yes, we are Amazon affiliates. When you shop through our store, it helps support our Downsize channel at no extra cost to you, and we appreciate it.
If you've been following our story, more than 150 pounds lost between us, and you want real updates, honest advice, and GLP-1 news that matters,
make sure to like this video, subscribe to The Downsize, and tap that notification bell so you never miss what's next. I guess that's it. I'm Laraine Durham.
And I'm Christopher Durham. We are The Downsized. We'll see you next time.